There is no magical day when the tough moments cease to exist. There are days of zero motivation, of poor self-talk, of fatigue, of stress, and of wanting to break from it all. When you realize that excellence is not synonymous with perfection, it brings you out of the tough days quicker. I coach to do your best because I do my best every day.
Welcome to the Strength Connection podcast, a show to share stories, insights, and experiences in strength, physically, mentally, and spiritually. I'm Michael Kurkowski, host of the Strength Connection, and I'm so grateful that you can join me today. So in these episodes, I connect with some of the most inspiring and successful individuals to chop it up and learn from true life experiences that have helped them become who they are, the strongest versions of themselves. One of the greatest ways I've always learned the most important lessons is through stories. We all have them, and they make us who we are. So let's dive in. Here we go.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Strength Connection podcast. I'm your host, Michael Kurkowski, and it's me and you. This is a solo episode. It's good to be back. So I know it hasn't been too many released episodes, I believe, since I've done a solo podcast, but in real time, it feels like it's been a long time from here. So wanted to jump back on and speak with you directly. A couple things that have been really powerful lessons that I've learned from some recent people I've had on the podcast, some of the guests that have been unbelievable, and also just share a little bit of insight into some things that I've really learned over this past time. You know, after the 200th episode I released in there, just kind of in a couple different ways. One by happenstance and just timing. We didn't have a few interviews that were booked for a couple weeks, and then we had some backlog ones in there. So it just felt like a moment for me to just step back and take a moment just to reflect on everything that I was doing and where things were working with the show and what I wanted to do, and like not only where I wanted to go, but where did I feel like I was at the moment right now with it. From that, it's some of these times I call forced reflection. You know, we're coming into the holiday season right now, which I believe is something that everybody does. You reflect on the past year, you reflect where you are in the moment. Are you where you thought you should be? You know, bringing some of those tough words in there, like shoulda, coulda, woulda. And when I hit 200 episodes on this podcast, I wanted to look and just be like, okay, like where do I see, things are right now? Where do I want to keep going with it? Do I like the format that's going? Is it giving value to you that's listening here? How can I do things better? I'm never somebody who scratches the surface of anything. And as much as consistency is a superpower to do, and if you're consistent with anything, you're going to see great results. You know, I heard this quote from a book I read recently as longevity is not synonymous with a job well done. So once you get to certain points, just being consistent with something is not enough. You have to keep elevating and keep figuring out what's the best way that you can keep moving and keep going forward. So that put me into just a little bit of a mindset of not existential, like, crisis by any means, but just more of like, what am I doing? Like, where do I want things to go? Why do I love this so much? Asking some of those difficult questions that we have in the journeys that we have, because we all have desires, we all have goals that we want to accomplish, and then we put plans together in order to get them. But the best plan is the one where you need to look and pivot and adjust and see, do I need to make any adjustments and changes? So I was really just kind of looking at everything from a 10,000 foot view for a bit. After going into that, what I realized is all these thoughts that I have of all these things that I want to accomplish and achieve, and feeling anxious and nervous about it, it's all normal things that we have. Often in the coaching world, I think, where it's such a highlight-based culture where we always put on our best face and never show our scars or the battles that we're still going through. And I think we do a lot of disservice by doing that. So in this is just kind of a roundabout way of just, putting you into the mind of where I was over the last, couple months really of doing things and figuring out, where do I want to go with this? I have huge aspirations for this show. I want to keep sharing it, keep spreading it as much as possible, getting people on who are great guests, who have great messages of strength. But with that too, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. And oftentimes you anticipate things going a certain way, and sometimes they don't. Other things you don't expect the success that you have. Both of them are just a little bit of a shock. So to kick this off, I wrote something that really resonated with a lot of people on social media that I wanted to share on this podcast and write. This was a post that I had, and it was some thoughts that I had during a timeless training session of going into Sinister. And I'll read it here. So I coach others in strength because I have days I feel weak. I help them find confidence within themselves because I have times when I feel my confidence plummet. I coach practicing gratitude because I have days when I don't want to and I have no connection to being grateful. I show you how to overcome self-limiting beliefs because there are many days I've let my shadows engulf me. I praise discipline because I have days when I've slipped and given in. I practice gratitude and intuition, and I've had days when I just want a structure to tell me what to do. I coach on how to love yourself, and I've had days when I've berated and screamed at myself for not being good enough. I coach strength over aesthetics, and I've had struggles with body image. And I coach authentically, and I've had times I didn't act in truth. I'm not a hypocrite, I'm a human, and so are you. The coaching world is a front-running messenger for the highlight lifestyle, putting up the milestones and the victories as a symbol of everyday life. Yet there isn't one that doesn't struggle with the same things they coach. What we do, or at least I do, is to commit every day to doing my best. I don't mean this in a cliche throwaway phrase of I'll try my best. I don't try, I do. It is a conscious effort to put my greatest focus in and knowing there will be better days than others. There is no magical day when the tough moments cease to exist. There are days of zero motivation, of poor self-talk, of fatigue, of stress, and of wanting to break from it all. When you realize that excellence is not synonymous with perfection, it brings you out of the tough days quicker. I coach to do your best because I do my best every day. So I just felt like sharing that with you, just to know that if you're a coach or whatever you are, if you're in a leadership role, however, wherever you are in life, it's not all highlight. Nobody is just a life of highlights where every day is perfect and you're just traveling all over the world and everything is rainbows and unicorns. Everybody is struggling through different things, myself included. So if anything from that story, if it resonates with you, the best thing I can say from there is that you're not alone. Okay. You're probably right where you need to be, and just keep moving forward and just keep plugging. Right? All right. So moving forward on that. So there's two things I wanted to share on this solo podcast from people that I connected with. One was with Mike Salemi. I talked to Mike with my former podcast, Breakthrough Secrets, and we talked a lot about the work that he's done with creating the Bulgarian bag and all the work that he did in the physical training world with being a kettlebell sport athlete and everything there. When we reconnected now, we chatted beforehand, and he's a brand new father. He's got an 8-month-old, I believe now. And we talked a lot more about the change in his lifestyle and how he views strength, not only on the physical side, but the mental side, the responsibility side. And a lot of the work that he does now is helping with men who are in that similar boat, have families, have young families who are trying to balance it all in their lives. And there was one moment where he talked about a retreat that he did, and it was one of the most powerful things that came about, and I wanted to share it. And this was about a ceremony that they did at this retreat dinner, where this was one where they got together, they did physical training, they talked about a lot of things, they implemented plans, they were open and vulnerable, all the good things that you find from, retreats of personal growth. And what they added with this was when they sat down to dinner, they would just say a short, just prayer of gratitude, just saying, thank you for us being together. Please let this food bring strength and nourishment to us. Just a very, just generalized, just prayer, just a moment of gratitude. And when they put out feedback cards for people to ask, like, what was the biggest things that you enjoyed about this seminar? One of the main responses that they got back from people was the little ceremony at dinner beforehand. It wasn't something that he thought was going to be something that everybody talked about, but he realized that it's those ordinary moments that pop up where we just take a moment to appreciate and just have gratitude for the community that we're with, for the health that we have, or just the little things that are just part of our everyday life that we just take for granted. Those are the things that they make up the majority of our lives. They make up the majority of our time. And often we're just an autopilot and we just roll through in the automatic zone, not even recognizing these things as important. But I've talked about this on the scale of 1 to 10. There's 10 out of 10 days. There's 1 out of 10 days. Those are very easy to find gratitude in. 10 out of 10, everything's going great. It's really easy to be thank you for everything. On the 1 out of 10 days, it's easy to go to gratitude because you don't have anything else. You feel like you hit rock bottom in many ways. And the only thing you can do is look at the bright side. But those 5 out of 10 days, those 6 out of 10, those kind of monotonous, ordinary type days in there, those are the ones that we can easily take for granted. But those are the ones that when you focus and you put your energy into those days and recognize the value and importance of it, that's where I believe mastery lies. And that's where going into physical training, like on the journey of Sinister that I'm doing right now, it's like as many of the days are just very similar to the ones before. It's very easy to just punch the clock and just get it done. Or I can recognize them as super valuable and really put my energy and focus into those small moments, every rep of just doing it the best that you can. And I believe if you keep doing that and you recognize that, that is a path to mastery. And that's a path to joy and fulfillment and all the things that we're looking for. So I really appreciate when Mike brought that up to me in our podcast episode. And that one's released right now, so you can go back and take a look at that one if you like. And the last one that I'll leave here was with Dave Robinson. Dave's a storywork coach who was referred over to me by Mark England, who was one of my recent episodes, and an unbelievable conversation that we had about mindset and the words that we use. And Dave is the work that he does with beginning people with changing their stories, changing their mindset and the belief that they have. It's so powerful. And he went into a lot of practical aspects of how to do that. One of the pieces in that episode that sparked me was when he talked about affirmations. And he said a line where affirmations only work when you believe in it. So to bring that into a little bit more context is often we can have these vague general affirmations. I'm indestructible, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I'm whatever it is, just a very vague, just bland term, right? So if you say I am strong, but you know that you're not strong in the moment, that's just saying words. It's not actually creating any emotion into it. So he said, well, what if you say I'm becoming strong? Or so he says, like his big thing is I love myself. He says that like anytime he gets in the stress, that's what he said, I love myself. And he goes back and he told this whole story behind that. But at the beginning, if you know that you don't, it's like I'm becoming or I'm developing love for myself. I'm doing these things. That is just as powerful of a quote because you know that that's true. That's something that you are working on. And this was going back into a conversation I had with Megan Henry and a lot of the people with mindset that I've had on the podcast, talking about practices that you can do to develop a stronger, resilient mindset. Is affirmations is a great thing, but if you just keep them at something very vague or something that you heard somebody else say that you should say, then yeah, even if it works for a moment, it's going to work for a day and then it's going to fall off to the wayside, just like most things do. But when you make it very personal, when you make it very much about you and the journey that you're doing, so I'm becoming strong versus saying I am strong or I am developing this pattern, like all those things, like when you actually make it true that you know that you're working on it and it resonates with you there, that's where affirmations come in. So if you've done affirmation before, if you're working on that or developing your mindset, then I'll go back and listen to that episode I did with Dave when he talked about that. That was really powerful to me and something that I've used even more so over the past month of developing my plans for the next year and kind of just hashing out and closing out 2023 and the work of just developing a stronger mindset. So that's what I want to share with you here. So I'll leave it there. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Hopefully this resonates with you, and I'm excited to continue working with these practices and sharing these stories and onward and upward. All right, much love to you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found some great value here. And if you like this episode, please drop a comment and leave us a 5-star rating and review. It does more to build the show than you can imagine. And do not forget to check out and join the Strength Connection Facebook group. In this group, I share the biggest takeaways and lessons from these amazing conversations, as well as training and strength tips for pursuing mastery and fulfillment in life. This group is filled with individuals looking to take full control over their strength, and it's the perfect space to explore new ideas and to share your journey. And you'll also get exclusive access to the Strength Connection Mastery Seminars. It's a deep dive into the physical, mental, and spiritual training that you can begin using immediately. So do not wait, go now. Seriously, go. All right, much love to you. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.